A lot of times people may get a tattoo that they don't particularly care for, a name or maybe a handmade tattoo that they may like when they first get it, but as time goes by, not be too happy with it. In that case, they have the option of either changing it to another design or covering it. Depending on what the design is, how light or dark it is, where it's placed, determines whether you can change it or whether you have to cover it up. This particular tattoo was done by a person with little or very little experience or had not been taught properly. And if you look, you'll see a lot of lines, which this is all this is an outline, where you'll see a heavy line here, very light line here, and in some instances no line at all. Some of the leaves are very dark. It looks like it may have been done with an outliner that was actually too big for the design. Some of the leaf points have balls on the ends of them, and they shouldn't be that way. It should come down into sharp points. So once again, this is a person with little or no experience, and this is what you can have if you don't shop around. This is a page in a tattoo magazine that Zoe was looking through, and it's got several designs here. It's got a skull, a couple of old school nostalgic type girls. She's chosen something along the line of this floral design here at the bottom. Now, if she wanted to get that exact design, what we would do was put it on a copy machine, make a copy of it, take that copy, run it through a stencil machine, and make a stencil that would be applied to her skin and then outlined with the machine to make it permanent. There's a gentleman with the design. It's a rose with a banner and a name inside the banner. It's a very nicely done tattoo, but he is no longer with this person and would like to get this banner changed into something other than a banner and wipe out the name. What we're going to attempt to do is turn this banner into a snake's body, if possible, with it continuing the direction that it's going, curving back around using the inside of here. Possibly we can do some scale work down in here to scramble up the lettering, come back in on top of the scale work with some shading and color, thus getting rid of the name. But when doing a cover up, that's what's the most important part. You've got, especially when you're covering lettering, you don't want to see any portion of the lettering showing through the cover up. That's the effect we're looking for. A lot of times when you are doing a cover up, especially lettering, if it's done by a crude machine, you might have it raised a bit. And if that's the case, no matter if you're putting color over to whatever, you're always going to be able to see that raised portion of the tattoo through the new tattoo. So you've got to keep that in mind. This particular one was done very well. It's very flush with the skin, so I don't think there'll be any problem with the name actually showing through the tattoo once it's complete. So what we're going to attempt to do with this is turn this portion of the banner into the body of the snake, trying to keep it as natural looking as possible, which is going to be kind of tough with this particular design, but we're going to give the college try. And once you get the basic outline, it's going to continue around behind the rose here and probably come out this side with the head of the snake being up here somewhere. Get an idea about where I want the body of this snake to end up. You've got to stay with the flow of the ribbon. The ribbon, you've got to follow those lines and keep this thing looking as natural looking as possible. You can't detour from that, or it's not going to look good at all. You've got to try to maintain the integrity of the ribbon while turning it into a snake.